Hi guys, welcome to this page of the notes. What we're going to do is go ahead and take a look at our third method for factoring. We've already looked at GCF, difference of squares, and if neither of those work, you're forced to go to option number 3, perfect square trinomials. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at how these are going to work. Again, just like with difference of squares where you are following a formula, you will again be following a formula. How do you know which one to use? It's actually pretty straightforward. All you have to do is look at the signs. If you have two plus signs, you're going to have the first one. If you have a minus sign and then a plus sign, you're going to go with the second one. It will not be a perfect square trinomial if you have a plus sign first and then a minus sign. You'll actually be forced to go to option number 4 in that case. But we'll worry about that a little bit later. So these are your two options, plus sign, or minus sign, plus sign. That's how you'll determine which one is the correct formula to use. Now, here's the way that this is going to work. You're going to be given a quadratic equation, like the one here. What you need to do is check to make sure that this quadratic equation fits either the a squared plus 2ab plus b squared or the a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. And if it fits that form, you will write it in its factored form as a plus b squared or a minus b squared. All right, so here we go. I have two plus signs. If it's gonna work, it's gotta be the first one. So here we go. Let's take a look at this. I know that in order to get an x squared, I would have to square an x. So I will have x squared plus. In order to get a 9, I would have to square a 3. So 3 squared. Now, the middle, right, this guy right here, this plus 6x, has to come from plus 2ab. Okay, great. Well, I got my plus 2 times a. A is an x. B is a 3. Does it work? 2 times x times 3? Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times x would be 6x, which is exactly what I was given. Since this guy right here does fit the form that I was given in my formula, I will simply write this in factored form as a, which is x, plus b, which is 3, squared, and it's all equal to 0. Again, since I asked you to factor, we'll stop right there. But you certainly could go ahead and use the zero product property to split those guys up and solve. Say, hang on a second, split what guys up? Well, remember, x plus 3, the quantity x plus 3 squared means you have x plus 3 times x plus 3, right? You'd split those guys up and solve it. Yes, you're absolutely right. You would get the exact same answer. So I would have x plus 3 times x plus 3. Zero product property lets me split them up. X plus 3 is equal to 0. X plus 3 is equal to 0. And if I were to solve them, I get a -3 and a -3. I get the same answer both times. Absolutely. It's always going to work that way for perfect square trinomials. You'll only get one real solution, in this case -3. Both factors give me the exact same answer. But I didn't ask you to solve, I just asked you to factor, so you're going to stop right here. Let's go ahead and try another one. Here's what I've got. An x squared plus 16x plus 64. I need to go ahead and check to make sure that that fits one of my formulas. Well, I know I get an x squared by doing an x squared. I know that I get a 64 by doing an 8 squared. Now all I got to do is check to make sure that the middle works out. Well, remember the middle is 2 times a times b. So 2 times, well, my a is an x, and my b is an 8. Well, what does that get you? 2 times 8 is 16. 16 times x is 16x, which is exactly what I was given. Fantastic. It works. It actually fits the first one. And so I just go ahead and write this as a, which is x, plus b, which for me is an 8. And that's squared. It's all equal to 0. And since I asked you to factor, we'll stop right there. If I asked you to solve, right, you go ahead and split that up. X plus 8 equals 0. X plus 8 equals 0. Solve both of them. You'd wind up with x equals negative 8. Let's try another one. Ooh, careful. Check this out. Minus plus. We're going with the second formula, right? That bottom one, there's 2 of them up there. We've used the top one twice. Looks like this one's going to, well, we'll have to check and make sure. But as of right now, it looks like I probably have that second one. But let's go ahead and find out. How do I get a 4x squared? Well, 4 is a perfect square. I just square a 2. So if I did 2x squared, right, that would give me 2 squared is 4, x squared is an x squared. So awesome, that works out. Minus the 9. Well, I know 9 is a perfect square. It's a 3. So I'd have a 3 squared. Now all I got to do is check the middle. The middle needs to be a minus 2 times a times b. So 2 times a, which is a 2x, times b, which is a 3. Well, let's see what happens. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. And 12 times x would be a 12x. Got the minus sign there, so it would be a minus 12x. And that's exactly what I was given. I was given a minus 12x. So this does fit that formula for the second one. And so I'm simply going to write this as a, which is 2x minus b, which for me is a 3. Again, remember that squared and 0. And since I asked you to factor, we would stop right there. If I had asked you to solve, you would do 2x minus 3 equals 0. 2x minus 3 equals 0. Solve both of those, right? You'll get the same answer. It'd be a positive 3/2, which is 1.5. But I didn't ask you to solve. I just asked you to factor. And so we'll stop right there. Guys, that's how the perfect square trinomial method works. You've got to know these 2 formulas, right? You've got to know these 2 formulas. You've got to know how to apply them. Very similar to the difference of squares, right? What squared gets you that first number? What squared gets you that second number? The only difference here is now you just got to check that middle part, right? The 2 times a times b. Make sure that comes out to be what you were given. As long as it does, you just go ahead and write it in its factored form. All right, so now we've taken a look at GCF, difference of squares, and perfect square trinomials. What happens if neither of those 3 methods work? Well, you're first forced to go to method number 4, factoring general trinomials, which we're going to take a look at next. Head on over to the next page of the notes. I'll meet you guys there.